What is going on? How are you doing? Wanted to pop on and talk about giving up. Wanted to talk about giving up. Here, hang on. I'm trying to, there. Got this pulled up on my phone. So many of us go through those things in life where maybe we feel that it's time to give up on our business or give up on our dreams, give up on the things that we really truly want. Larry, what's going on? Sandy McNichols in the house. Randy, what's happening? So several years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, my business that I started this business. Man, I started it on a $20 loan from somebody telling me to, I was staying at a buddy's house and he's like, dude, you need to like get your crap together and move on, like get out of my house. I was like, what? Just gone through a crazy divorce and was in a really bad place in my life. And so he loans me $20. Back then I smoked cigarettes and I went and bought a pack of smokes. I paid $3 for a pack of smokes. and I said, okay, I'm going to get back into doing website development because I'd done it for a long time. And so I went out, I put $10 gas in my car, had $7 left, thought, you know what? I'll just eat off the McDonald's value menu if I have to. And so I went out and, hey, Tammy, how are you? Cindy, what's happening? Cindy, good to see you guys here. There's Steph. I love Steph. Alan, what's going on? Weldon Whitehurst is in the house. Alan's in the house. And Robert Brooker, of course, is always here. So I have been all the way through Montana, Alan. I've been all the way through, and I stayed in a hotel right on the border of Montana and Idaho. I forget the name of that town. Laramie? No, that's in Wyoming. What was the name of the town? I forget, but yeah, Montana is beautiful. So anyway, hey, Charles Coachman. Geez, look at all these amazing people. Angela Brooks. So I started my company on next to nothing. I went out that first day knocking on doors all day, got to the end of the day, hadn't made any money, no sales, no nothing. So I just kept knocking. And I finally ran into a dude that said yes. And it was for a small little job to touch up his website. And we negotiated. It was $600 that he was paying me. Might as well have been $6 million because I had no money. Like I went to McDonald's for lunch and like I had no money. And that's where I started my business. And I took that and I turned it into, we were doing very well, over $100,000 a month in business. And then, you know, I was one of the number one SEO people on planet Earth. Missoula. That's where it was, dude. Missoula. I think it was Missoula. Alan says he lives in Missoula. I think it was Missoula is where I stayed. I think. But anyway, so that's how I started my business. I got it up to over $100,000 a month. And then Google changed everything. I mean, they changed their entire algorithm and they released a couple of things. If you're in the industry, you probably remember the panda and the penguin updates. And it literally took anybody that was ranked at the top of Google and eliminated them from the top of Google. And all of my clients were freaking out. I was freaking out. Everybody, we were tripping out. And Jen, I'm the only person in the world allowed to call her Jen. You rock. So we went. I mean, I watched it. It was like a ball rolling off a table. We went from over 100,000 a month to about 25,000 a month, and I had a bunch of employees, and oh god, it got bad. And so, somebody saw it, what was happening, that I was friends with, and I bailed. I didn't close my company. I still build websites. I still do my thing. But I said, I'm going to move my family to Vegas and work with a company out there as a contractor. And it was a client of mine. And so I went out, and things didn't work out, and ended up coming back to Ohio after 13 months and literally had to start over. Brian Hess, my brother from another mother, man, I'm seeing your stuff on social, dude. It looks beautiful out there. I love San Diego. So I own the Jen trademark, just so y'all know. She goes by Jennifer or JMO to everybody else, but I'm allowed to call her Jen. So I had to start over. And I can remember when I started over, I remember feeling like, and this is just a few years ago, I remember that feeling of absolute regret, like a deep feeling of just, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I literally allowed fear to control me. I mean, it really totally controlled me to the point of I said, okay, I'm just gonna bail on my company, lay off all my employees, and heading to Vegas. And although it's worked out, and it's worked out well, and I developed some amazing friendships. I met Scott McCain while I was in Vegas, and him and I are really good friends now. He's actually a client of mine. He's in my academy, the Grow Live Academy. Amazing human being that I got to hang out with in Vegas. So a lot of good comes out of it. But here, Brian said it, starting over is life's greatest gift. But sometimes starting, it's not necessary. Sometimes you've got to, what I should have done is I should have downsized, or I should have figured out how to pivot instantly and start producing revenue, and negotiated with the landlord and said, hey, we got to work this out. We got to do this. We got to do that. Hey, sorry, these 5 employees, but y'all have to go. I can't afford you. And it sucks, but instead I allowed fear to put me in a completely difficult situation along with my family. And so, look, if you didn't start over, you might not have met me. That's true, dude. That is true. Janelle, look at that sweet face. Janelle is such a sweetheart. Look at her. She's amazing. Hey, Janelle. So it's the grass is always greener. By the way, you guys need to go follow Kellen. I'm on her show tomorrow sometime, right, Kellen? Isn't it tomorrow sometime? It's on my calendar. So, not always starting over is the best plan, right? Sometimes you can only sit within what you can see. Exactly. That's so true. And look, I and Tammy, I'm gonna pop yours up here in a second. I want to address it, but sometimes you just can't. Like sometimes things can be painted to be something that they're actually not, and you buy into it or whatever. But here at the end of the day, Brian Monahan, you just said it, dude. Do we really start over, or do we take a new path with more experience? And dude, that is the truth right there. That is the absolute truth. Sometimes if you feel like you're giving up, it may not be. It may be that you need a new path. And I think I did need that for a while. I really feel like, and we've all been there. And, I don't know that I believe in the everything happens for a reason. I think that I don't know what to believe with that, to be quite frank with you. But like, I know that no matter what happens, yeah, I'm pulling comments in from 8 or 9 different locations. So you may not see them, but I'm popping as many up on the screen as I can. I do want to see what Tammy says. I've been in a funk for about a week. Just feel like I'm off my game. Even so, I will not quit. I'm in the right place, right company and products. Just got to get this funk to go away. Ugh. And I'll tell you what works for me when you're in a funk. Hey, Megan DiMartino. Thank you. Yeah, Steve is amazing, an amazing dude. I connected him and Mark Victor Hansen and Crystal Hansen today. They're great people. Steve's awesome. So I'll tell you what I do when I get to that place where I'm in a funk, and I get there. Everybody goes through that, man. Anybody tells you that they never get into a funk or they never feel down, they will lie to you about other things too. Everybody goes through it. We're human. I know I don't do tequila anymore, not with 18 years of sobriety. I'm not ready to give up. But, so what I do though is I start writing. I start writing out. First thing I start writing are my goals. I write down my goals because I think that if you're focused on your goals, you can achieve a whole lot of greatness. And then I write out positive affirmations. I write out positive affirmation statements, I am statements. My buddy Damien Boudreau brought me back to this, writing out positive affirmations. And if you've never tried this, I highly recommend it. Try writing out 60 positive affirmation statements that are all adjectives, no adverbs. Try that. Try it. And they all have to be different. They all have to be different. You can't rewrite the same one in a different form. Try it sometime. It'll blow you away when you're finished with it. It will blow you away when you're finished with it. Hey, Mark Gassert. Mark shared it out. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you sharing. So when you start writing stuff out, when you start writing out your goals, you start writing out affirmations, and then you start writing out, and Brian is absolutely right, you start writing out the things that you're grateful for. Write down 10 things that you're grateful for. And it can be as simple as, I'm grateful that I can breathe. I'm grateful I can see. I'm grateful that I can hear. I'm grateful that I have all my limbs, whatever it is, right? Kellen shared this. Thank you so much, Kellen. So, but here's the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing for me. When I'm in a funk, the best thing I can do is reach out to somebody else and help them. Find somebody else to help. Oh my gosh. Do I see Ray Abood on here? I just saw Ray Abood like this. Oh my gosh. Ray, how in the world are you, dude? I haven't seen you in a long time. We need to catch up, bro. So look, we all go through those things where, you know, we feel like maybe we want to give up on our dreams. See, I started my business and it became my dream. And then after Google changed everything, it became my nightmare. And I decided to allow fear to control me, and I walked away from it. I didn't walk away. I still had the business, still operated, but my clients were like, dude, what? So, you know, look, when you feel like, hey, this has been my dream forever, and this is what I really, really want, and I want to go after it, and you start getting some traction, don't walk away from it, man. Figure it out. Figure it out. Now, there is a point, obviously, that you know, you have to, I guess there comes a point where you have to surrender, just like I did with alcohol. I gave up on alcohol because it was bad for me. It was really, really bad for me and everybody around me. So I gave up on it 18 years ago. There are certain things that are bad for you that you should give up on. But your dreams, as long as they're ethical, as long as your dreams are ethical, as long as what you're working on is going to benefit the world in some way, or your community, your family, and it's ethical and it's good, then figure it out. Figure it out. Do everything that you can. And once you've done everything you can, do a little bit more. And if you haven't listened to David Goggins' book, and I notice I didn't say if you haven't read it, if you haven't listened to David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, there's a lot of cursing in it. He cusses like a sailor because he is one. He's a Navy SEAL or former Navy SEAL. I don't know how that works, but I would imagine once you're the baddest man on the planet, which he is, I'm telling you, that book, there's a lot of cursing in it though. So if cursing gets you, you probably don't want to listen to it, but I'm telling you, it is ice cream or chocolate. Yeah, I do like ice cream and chocolate. Brian, thank you for sharing this, man. I appreciate that. So David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, will absolutely impact your life like you cannot imagine. And he talks about in that book how once your body gets to a place where it says, I've had enough, I can't go any further. I cannot do one more push-up. I cannot do one more sit-up. I cannot do one more day trying to run this company. I cannot do whatever. He says in there, and proves it, that you've only reached about 40% of your potential. You've only done 40% of what you're actually capable of doing. Now, maybe that's not true. Maybe you've done 70%. I don't know. Janelle says the devil is a liar. He tries to rob us of our dreams and prevent us from living out our purpose. We must know fear isn't of God and use that as the fuel to push us through. Amen. Amen. I agree with that. So Tammy found it. There it is. The book. And don't buy the book. Buy the Audible version of it. Listen to the book. You can buy them both, but definitely listen to it. And the reason I say that is him and the guy that's helping read this book. It's both. It's the one guy reads it, but Goggins is in studio with the guy during the whole thing, and he stops reading. He'll go, "Okay, Goggins, I got to ask you, man. Like, did this blah 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 blah?" It's a phenomenal book because Goggins goes into like the psyche of what he was thinking, and like it's incredible, absolutely incredible. So, yeah, check him out. Oh, he's on London Real too. I did not know that. Yeah, do the Audible. Megan says, recognize your passion and never deny it. Even if the structure changes, the passion will remain and keep going. Did I see Mike Scott? What's up, Mike Scott? Mike Scott is in the house. That is not the Mike Scott from The Office, by the way. I love Mike Scott. He's a good dude. So yeah, look, you will get much more. You do. You get so much more out of it. It's called Can't Hurt Me. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. There's a lot of cursing in it. I'm not kidding. There's a lot of cursing in it, but I'm telling you, man, if that bothers you, I don't know, but it's so good. It is so good. Sean Bauer, hey, I can't click on that. I wonder if you would send that to me in a DM, bro. I'd love to see that. So, yeah, Can't Hurt Me on Audible. Unbelievable, life-changing book, and it may help you see. Like, here's the other thing. Here's the biggest thing. How many times, and be honest with me. It doesn't matter if you're honest with me. Be honest with you. How many times have you said, I've done everything, and I can't do it, or I can't figure it out? How many times? Drop a 1 if you've ever said that to yourself. Drop a 1. Scott, are you listening to the book or are you reading the book? Wow, there's Sean Bauer dropping that over to me. People who cuss are more honest. You're damn right. I try to keep it clean though, man. But drop a 1 in the comments if you've ever said that. Like, yeah, I've given it everything I have. Here's what you're going to discover after listening to that book. First, you're gonna hate me and Goggins, but you're going to say, okay, you're gonna say, maybe I was being a little bit of a sissy. Like, I may not have actually done everything. There have been days in my life where I sit in my office and I'm doing all this stuff, busy work, but not, and this is just being raw and real. We've all been there, where I've done all this busy work. At the end of the day, I'm like, okay, what did I produce today? Yeah. Well, I liked a lot of pictures on Instagram or Facebook, I did watch some really good cops videos on YouTube. I'm kidding. But where you're like, I was busy, but man, just wasn't as productive as I could have been. Did I really give it my all? And what that book will do for you is it will wake you up. You will wake up and go, man, I have not been giving it my all. I've not been giving it my all. Tammy Woodard is in the house. I love you, Tammy. You're so amazing. So, that book, I'm serious. And I was doing 75 hard at the time when I listened to it. It was perfect motivational material to do 75 hard, by the way. And I was doing it and I just kept hearing Goggins in my ear, like screaming at me, calling me profane things. And I was like, I'm not giving up. I mean, this dude went through the Navy SEAL training before he finally made it. I think he did it 4 times, and they only allow 3 times, but somehow he figured out a way. I forget the whole story, but he got in a 4th time and finally made it through whatever they call it, buds or whatever. And I'm telling you, it is an unbelievable book. Tammy said, "Okay, I have to leave." I'm serious. It's amazing. I mean, okay, I'll tell you one of the stories. He says he's running in this race. It's a 100-mile race called an ultra marathon. It's a 100-mile race. And along the way, he realizes that he's got like, he's at mile 75 or something, and looks down and realizes that there's blood running down his leg, and there's just all kinds of fluids coming out of his body that is just, that I know it's disgusting, but like, and so he said, my ankle doesn't feel right or something. I forget. You'll know what I'm talking about when you get to this part of the book. The book, Teresa, is called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And so he realizes that he's got some problems, and then he stops and he sits down on the side of the track, and it's a 1-mile track. You know, 1 lap around is 1 mile. You do it 100 times. It is a 100-mile race. So he goes and he sits down, and then he realizes that he's broken some bones in his feet, in his one foot. That he's got a couple of broken bones, and his girlfriend is there, and she's going, we got to get you to the hospital. Somebody else comes along, says, you need to be life flighted out of here. And he's like, and I'm not going to drop any F-bombs, but he says it over and over. I'm not blah, blah, blah. Give me that duct tape. And he literally wraps his foot and leg and ankle in duct tape, so he can finish this race. And he gets around and finishes the race, gets to lap 100. And then he realizes, when I sat down, did I miss a lap? Man, I'm not, no way am I cheating myself out of this. I'm going one more. So he wasn't sure if he missed a lap. So he went one more with blood coming out of his body, with his, I mean, broken bones. Like, man, you reach, that's reaching a whole different level of existence. That's reaching an entirely different level of existence as a human being. Hey, Pam Aubrey, he does have an amazing, it's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So I highly recommend you check out that book. Don't give up. Like I'm telling you, if you're working towards your dream and it's viable, and you know it's viable, and you know that it's ethical, and it's good for the world, it's good for you, it's good for your family. People on their deathbeds don't talk about how much they regret the things that they did. People on their deathbeds talk about how much they regret the things that they didn't do. Don't live with the regret of giving up on something that could have been, if you would have taken more responsibility and you would have pushed yourself harder. If you would have stopped lying to yourself, because I just sat here and told you I've lied to myself thousands of times about how much I'm capable of, about how much I did, about how much I can do. Thousands of times. I finished 75 hard, and so did my wife. We both dropped 30 pounds ish. 75 hard, by the way. Hey, Doug Wing, how in the world are you? Doug's on my show tomorrow morning. Y'all make sure you join us on Breakthrough Walls, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Doug's awesome. His father is the founder and inventor of the Little Giant Ladder Company. There's some good stories coming from this interview. I can't wait. So those times when you feel like, man, I've given it everything, and you actually haven't, and you're lying to yourself about it, and you know you're lying to yourself about it. You don't want to tell yourself the truth. That's what I'm talking about. Mike Scott says, have a good night, brother. Going to get it now. I'll leave you with this. So many people have giving up as an option. Take it out of your vocabulary. Get real with yourself. F everyone else. Ooh. At the end of the day, you only have to answer to God and yourself. Amen to that, dude. That is so true. Pam, you're freaking awesome. You know, there's the old saying is, if it was easy, everyone would do it. That's so true. It's so true. And, you know, I've owned businesses off and on my entire adult life. And look, at the end of the day, it's really difficult. At the end of the day, sales, being in sales, having a career in sales, that can be challenging. It can be very, very difficult. But it doesn't have to be. So, you know, I literally just got off of a great phone call with my buddy, Dr. Bill Janicek. And we were talking about that. We were talking about mindset, like how important mindset is. Your mindset, the conversations you're having with yourself, your mindset, the conversations you're having with yourself about what you're capable of, about what you can accomplish. Ray Campbell, thank you for being on here. Thank you for the great timely message. It's a God incident. I'm on here listening now. God bless you, Ken Walls. God bless you, Ray Campbell. God bless you. Teresa says, great message. Start the day with Jeffrey and end the day with Ken. Doesn't get any better. Thank you. I had a FaceTime call with Jeffrey this morning. He called me. We were talking about the book that he asked me to be a contributor in. So some cool stuff happening with that, by the way. It's coming soon. I'm excited. I can't believe I'm a contributor in a Jeffrey Gitomer book. It's absolutely amazing. Hey, Vicky, how are you? Good to see you. Doug Wing, attitude is huge. I mean, huge. It is. It's the conversations you have with yourself. So, you know, it's like somebody who said it earlier. There's too many comments. Who said that they've been to funk lately? I forget who it was. Somebody said they've been to funk lately. Who was it? So, you know, when you're sitting down and you're taking a piece of paper out, or I use my iPad and Apple Pencil, and you're writing down, you know, your goals, and you're writing down some positive affirmations about yourself, and you're writing down what you're grateful for, you're really looking at your gratitude in life. Like, what is it that I'm grateful for? Because everybody, Tammy, it was you. Steph, I'll address that in just 1 second. So when you're in that funk, when you're in that place, it is scientifically impossible for the human mind, which would be yours and mine, the human mind cannot be thinking of two things at the same exact time. So when you're focused on gratitude and you add on top of that, I'm going to help somebody else out. I'm going to do something to help somebody else out. I'm going to do something good for the world. When you're doing those things, there's no way to stay in a funk. It's impossible. And the more that you do it, the more frequent. Grant Cardone says to write your goals twice a day. 1000% agree. Here's the thing. Most people write their goals one time in a year, stuff them in a drawer on January 1st or 2nd, stuff them in a drawer, and they go back at the end of the year and, oh, yeah, that's right. I wrote these goals. How many did I hit? Oh, I only hit 3 of them. These don't work. They may try that a few times in life and go, it doesn't work. If you write your goals one time in a year and I write my goals 730 times in a year, who do you think has a better chance of achieving their goals? That's a rhetorical, very rhetorical question. If you said the person that writes one time, then I can't help you. I'm not sure anybody could. So Tammy said, yes, I've been in the funk for about a week. Just feel like I'm off my game. Even so, I will not quit. I'm in the right place, company products. Just got to get this funk to go away. So the funk will go away as soon as you stop focusing on the funk. The more you focus, NASCAR drivers, they're trained that when their car goes into a spin, if they're headed towards the wall, they are trained, and they go over this thousands upon thousands of times, to look down the track in the direction that they want the car to go. If you're focused on the wall as a NASCAR driver, you're probably going to hit the wall. So if you say, I'm grateful for whatever, list out the things you're grateful for: your home, your health, that you have food, that you have a job or a company or a business, that you have a car, that you have whatever amount of money, if you have any, whatever it is, like write down the things that you're grateful for so your mind can start focusing on that and not on all the crap that you're focused. And here's the other thing, and I'm not picking on you in any way. I've been there. So just know this. When you say, I am in a funk. Oh, I'm in a funk. That is a low energy statement to make, and you're literally just inviting more funk into your life, and you don't have to. You can change that conversation. You can 1000% change. Who on here, I'm sure that a lot of you have, who's heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza? Drop a 1 in the comments if you've heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Hey, Maria, I think, right? LOL, you're yelling at me. Maria, thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here. I'm not yelling at anybody, I promise you. But, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about that 96% of everything we do as human beings is on an unconscious level, subconsciously. How many times have you blinked in the last 20 minutes? You don't know. You have no idea. How many times did your heart beat? How many breaths did you take? How many times did you scratch your nose or your ear? How many times did you move your hands? You don't know, because things are happening unconsciously. 96% of everything you do in your life is done on an unconscious level. You don't even realize you're doing it. You don't even realize you're doing it. And you're telling yourself the same stories over and over and over and over and over. You have somewhere between 50 and 70,000 thoughts a day, the average person. 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And guess what? 90+% of those thoughts are the same exact thoughts that you had yesterday. Same exact thoughts you had yesterday. And here's the crazy part. This is the worst part, actually. We're telling ourselves these stories, constantly telling ourselves these stories over and over and over. And the problem with the stories is over half of what we're telling ourselves, we have made up on some level. We've embellished the facts. Over half, more than 50% of the stories that we tell ourselves are embellished. They're not even true facts. Think about it. Somebody cuts you off on the interstate, you get to work and you tell everybody, oh my God, somebody tried to kill me on the highway today. What? No, they maybe they didn't even see you. Maybe they're in a rush to get to the hospital because somebody's dying. Who knows? But like we take things and we blow them out of proportion, especially if you were brought up in a really, really negative environment as a kid. It's very easy for us as adults to carry all that stuff, the programming. Don Miguel Ruiz writes in the book, The Four Agreements, he says, right from the moment we're born into this world, the programming begins. The programming starts the moment he calls it the programming of the human. We're programmed and we're infected by all these people around us as kids. And some of us are positively infected and it works out great for us. Some of us, not so much. Doug says it right there. There's 3 sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth. When riding dirt bikes, if I see a rock ahead and stare at it, I will hit that rock. If I look past the rock, I won't hit it. Amen, dude. So look, and Steph asked a question a little bit ago. Where is it? What steps would you advise for those starting over? Well, here's one thing that I am absolutely 100% certain of. The grass is always greener syndrome is real. It's real. I have lived in many, many, many places across this great country, from Seattle to West Virginia to Pittsburgh to all over the country. And it's because I was a raging alcoholic and I was running from myself. So I've started over a few times, is my point. Sherry Gideons, how are you? Good to see you. I've started over many times. And because I had the grass is always greener syndrome. And I thought, if I go here and get out of this place and I go over here, it's going to be heavenly because, my problems are solved. All these people over here that are causing me problems aren't going to be over there. So if I leave here and go over there, I meet all new people and I don't have the same problems. Problem solved. That's called a geographical cure, and it does not work. It's rare that it works. It works, but it's rare. Very rare. See, starting over requires, it's just like, what is easier? And what burns less fuel? If Sean Bauer's still on here, he sells jets, aircraft. He knows. What burns more fuel? A jet when it's taking off, or a jet when it's at cruising altitude of 36,000 feet? I think everybody on here knows the answer to that. The jet when it's taking off is burning, I don't even know how, it's like 10 times more fuel or something insane. It's burning a whole lot more fuel when it's taking off to reach that cruising altitude. Sean's still here. There he is. Sean, how many more times fuel does a jet burn when it's taking off than when it's at cruising altitude? He can answer that. See, when we start over, and this is the craziest part of it. This is how messed up my mind is I'm like, oh, if I go start over, it's just, I can take all my experience from over here and move over here. And it's just going to be, it's going to be heavenly and it'll be wonderful. And I'm not going to have to put up with all the crap from these people over here and all the stuff. And the problem is I take me with me no matter where I go. See, when I take 100% responsibility for every single outcome in my life, like Jack Canfield talked about in his book, The Success Principles, the very first principle is take 100% responsibility for everything in your life. It's a crazy concept, isn't it? But if I'm taking responsibility for my life, I can't blame these people over here. If I'm taking responsibility for everything in my life, I can't blame that situation, those people, the economy, or anything. Anything. It's not their fault. It's my fault. Why am I not putting in more effort to make it a better relationship? Why are you not? Why are you not making these customers like you more? Why are you not taking the extra steps? Why are you not making the extra 50 phone calls? Why are you not putting in the extra mile? Well, it shouldn't all be on my shoulders. Why? Who died and made you God? And I'm not picking on you. I'm not pointing fingers at you. But when we take personal responsibility for everything in our lives, that means you can't blame anyone or anything for anything. And that means you're no longer a victim. And if you're no longer a victim, you're not going to have to worry about starting over. And I've been there. Trust me, I have been there a lot. And it sucks because when you start over, it requires 10 times probably the effort just to get going again, no matter what it is. Like you're literally starting over. Now, sometimes starting over is good. Like Brian Hess said earlier on here, sometimes it's a gift, but it's still going to require a ton of effort and personal responsibility for everything going on. And that's a hard pill to swallow for most people. I know for me, it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do is take responsibility for everything in my life, every outcome. Sherry, that's true. Victims keep getting what they've always gotten. And look, I've been there. I've been in that. Hey, let me put on my victim hat. And it does nothing for me. It may make you feel good in the moment when everybody's like, oh, Sherry, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Those mean people. It might make you feel good for a moment. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you get a boo-boo? Oh, it's that little kid inside of you that's begging for attention from your mom or your dad or whoever didn't give it to you. That's what's going on. And people don't, again, I get it. Nobody wants to fess up to that. I get that. I totally get it. I've been there, bought the t-shirt, been there. But you're never going to win with the victim mindset. You're never, ever, ever going to win, truly win, and be free and be happy if you have a victim mindset. So my tips to answer, Steph, I don't know if you're still on here, but my tips for starting over, if anybody that's starting over, go all in, man. The most effort is required when you're leaving that runway. You're heading down that runway. Look at yourself as the jet. This is the metaphor for your life. You're the jet. You got the fuel. It's time to kick in the afterburners and give it freaking everything until you get to an altitude that's comfortable. And if you want to go higher, it's going to require more fuel. It's going to require more energy. You got to stay focused. You got to stay on it. You got to stay on it. Keep the freaking afterburners going. You may have to refuel in midair. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, you need to keep going. You can't stop. It's 10:48 at night. I'm sitting in my office talking to you guys right now. You gotta be willing to put the hammer down, keep the hammer down, and keep going no matter what. And if you're starting over, Write your goals out. And you know what? Stop cheating yourself on your goals. Make them huge. Make your goals big. Make them humongous. So big that they scare the crap out of you and they don't even seem real. Make them huge. Because there's a pretty good chance that you're going to, no matter what your goal is, if your goal is to make $100,000 a year, there's a good chance you could fall short of it. If that's in the realm of what you're used to making. I find it absolutely mind-boggling that people say, well, you know, I made 68,000 last year and I you know, I'm really hoping for a, you know, about a 4.5% increase this year. I'm like, what? What is, how much is that? Like, have you ever thought like of 10xing that, like making it 700,000 is your goal? Have you ever thought about making them massive, massive, massive goals? So big they scare you. And if you haven't, why not? There's a lot of people that make a whole lot more than that. Why not? Do you not feel worthy? Do you feel incapable? Do you feel stuck? What is it? What's the reason? You got to figure that out. And somebody said on here earlier, the first step is admitting it. And it is like, you got to admit, like, yeah, I've thought, I've heard so many people say it. Heard Grant Cardone say it. I've heard many people say it. My biggest regret is I didn't think bigger sooner. It's my biggest regret. I didn't think bigger sooner. And that's one of my regrets. Like, man, I always thought I was a big thinker. I always thought I was a big thinker. No, there's so much more available. So much more available. And the more that you make, the more you can help. The more of a legacy you can leave. And y'all have heard me talk about this before, but have you ever written a book? Have you written a book? And if you haven't written a book, why haven't you written a book? It's the greatest thing I ever did was publish my book in 2017. And now I have another book coming out. I'm a co-author with Dr. Bernie Siegel in a book coming out October 6th called From Crappy to Happy. My stories in that book, along with several other authors, including Dr. Siegel. Such a blessing. And I have a book coming out with Jeffrey Gitomer where I'm a contributor in his new book coming out. He reached out to me and asked me to contribute. There's so much more available. So much more available. It's time for all of us to step up. Go get ours. Hey, I appreciate you guys being on here. I appreciate all the shares, the loves, the laughs, the wow faces, the hearts, the thumbs up. I appreciate all of you. I love you all. I appreciate you being on here. Don't give up. Live with no regrets. Give it everything you freaking have. You all have a great evening. Oh, by the way, if you have not yet, go over and download my free ebook, 100livestreamsecrets.com. It's a free ebook that has a lot of valuable information, not just on live streams, but on how to for social media posts and all kinds of great stuff in that book. Go check it out, 100livestreamsecrets.com. Check it out. You guys have an amazing night. I love you all, and I appreciate you all, and I'll see you very, very soon. Join me tomorrow morning with Doug Wing on Breakthrough Walls. Doug Wing. It's going to be an amazing interview. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye.